Beb, may kwento ako.
Ano yan? Bago na namang crush?
Parang ganun na nga. Ito na naman si ate mo, girl, sa pagiging marupok.
It's a big no for me. It's a no. I'm sorry, it's a no. So, ayun. From what you've heard, si ate mo girl, aka Miss Chloe Rabulan,
Me.
marupok na naman. So, she can't say no ulit. Tapos na-establish na naman natin, di ba, from episode 0 na Chloe really can't say no. Kahit sa friends, sa family, even guys na hindi siya kilala, or guys na kilala niya. I'm thinking of a very bad story, but I don't want to tell it right now. Let's save that for another episode.
Hala. Okay, sige.
One word.
Hindi ko alam yun.
One
pero...
word. Singapore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait. Cute siya. Yun lang yun. Cute siya and like...
Yeah, but ikukwento natin yun on another episode. So...
On another fun
episode. Singilin nyo kami dyan. Singapore. Ang keyword natin. So yan, si Chloe kasi, kahit yung mga Korean/Thai, I'm not sure what fandom she's in now. But like, she can't say no.
Girl?
It's just, it's a no for me. It's a yes for her. Whether fangirling, friends, family, lalo na pag work. So since last episode, we tackled knowing what you deserve and maybe learning how to say no part 1. We're gonna tackle learning how to say no part 2 today. Yeah. So, I think
drum roll.
Since sobrang notorious ni Chloe. Well, hindi lang si Chloe. Pero like sa batch, Chloe is one of the people na notorious na she can't say no, especially sa work. And it's high time na we do an intervention. It's high time we put a stop to this very silly mannerism, attitude. I don't even know what to call it. Basta it's a bad habit. And it's time to end it once and for all. So, ayun, let's formally dive into the episode by remembering yung kwento natin from 2 episodes ago. So, nung episode 2, we said na we're gonna discuss more about Chloe's council experience. And it's a very big story because you had a glimpse of how overworked she was at the same time dealing with a lot of stuff in her personal life, in her family life, tas may akads pa siya. So, in the first place, paano ka ba napunta sa sitwasyon na yon? Syempre, hindi ka naka-know. So, will you please recount that story to us?
Oh my gosh. Siguro kasi, first year ko in UPD as a transferee from UPM. Yung mga friends ko nung UPM, basically, high school friends ko. So, yung ugali ko pa nung high school, that's like me when I entered UP. So, it's a totally different me. Sobrang preppy, G kahit saan. Yung like, oh my God, yeah, let's go! Yan, that was me that time. Di ko pa alam yung mga, di pa ako marunong magalit, basically. So, I joined an org.
Wait lang, puputulin kita doon. Marunong ka na bang magalit ngayon?
Slight.
Okay, babalikan natin yan. Back to the story.
Okay. So, I joined this org. Second sem ko na. Second sem ko sa UPD. Tapos yung time na yon nag-a-app ako for a political leadership / advocacy org. And yung org na yon, well, pwede ko naman sabihin, yung isa, siya? Basically, it's a political org din siya. So, based only in CMC. So, sa CMC.
Okay, I will kwento because she's saying a lot of jargons, a lot of people can't relate to. UPCMC is UP College of Mass Communication. UPCMCSI is UPCMC. I don't actually know.
Interdependent Student Center. Isa interdependent. Oh my gosh, hindi ko alam.
Okay,
Interdependent Student Center.
Kick her sa org.
Oh my gosh, wait lang. I need to, girl, di ko alam what's wrong with me today. Hindi ako marunong magkwento. Feeling ko, hindi ko talaga alam. I am like so confused with everything. Hindi ako ready sa kahit ano.
So, bago siya i-kick sa org, anong ibig sabihin ng name ng org mo?
Alam ko na. Tama ko. Interdependent Student-Centered Activism. So, yon UPCMC isa.
Final answer?
Final answer. Lock in.
Okay. So,
yes, I'm ready.
Yung org niya is basically one of the political parties ng college. It's Yeah, basta may two main parties yung college. It's CMC isa and Stand UP. So, feeling ko college
Yes.
students know what stand is naman kasi maraming stand across universities, especially big universities. And then, sila
Yes.
yung medyo, hindi naman kayo, basta mas liberal yung stand. Tama. Hindi kayo
Yeah.
conservative
Kasi
eh. Pero medyo centrist.
yes,
Centrist
medyo
left.
pero hindi.
Centrist left.
Yes.
Yun.
Basically ganon, yes. Left of center. Sa spectrum. Left of center. Syempre, alam ko yan. Tumakbo ako, diba?
Dapat alam mo kasi tumakbo ka at nanalo ka. So, paano ka ba napatakbo?
Ayun na nga. So, nung una, sobrang ayoko. Well, una, flattered ako. Sabi ko, really? Ako? Grabe. Parang second semester ko pa lang dito sa Mascom. Sa tingin nyo, papatakbuhin nyo ako
Freshie
ng
standing
rep?
pa siya nun.
Yeah, freshie standing. Freshie standing pa ako nun. So, parang ko, pwede ko bang actually, parang hindi ako una sumagot. Parang initian ko lang yung tanong sa akin if gusto ko pa daw. Tapos biglang one day, basta, di ko alam kung anong class, naalala ko, dun siya malapit sa CNC lobby. So, sa lobby ng college namin, tinanong ako ulit. Tapos biglang, napao-oo. Sabi ko, okay, sige, sure. Oo na lang. So, parang sinasabi sa akin na, iba naman yung college. Parang malay mo, manalo ka na. Kasi nung high school talaga, never ako nanalo. As in, I ran twice. Tapos nung una, di ako nanalo. Tapos diba, wala pa akong kapilang mukha. Tumakbo ako ulit. Tapos di ako nanalo ulit. So, parang pero to be honest, sobrang half-hearted talaga nung pagtakbo ko nung una. Kasi sabi ko, okay, sige. Feel ko chill naman to. Feeling ko hindi ko pa kasi na-witness ng fully yung political stuff ng UP noon. Kasi nga, second freshie ako. Grabe, wala akong org nung freshie ako. As in, 0 friends lang talaga ako. Ako yung pinaka walang involvement sa college whatsoever. Tapos, second year, bago. Tapos sabi ko, sige G, kala ko high school lang. Yung parang, may kipag-hi-hi ka lang sa tao. Tapos, di mo na kailangan malaman ng kahit ano. Tapos, grabe, girl, talaga. Doon ko nalaman na may training, yung bardagulan sa UP. Sobrang laki ng character development na nangyari sa akin noon. But at the same time, it was really hard. But parang kung uulitin ko yon, I would say yes pa rin. Kasi it really taught me a lot. Kasi natuto ako magalit, natuto ako mag-hate ng tao, natuto ako talagang maging, to stand firm. Ayun, ano ang kwento kung paano ko napasay yes? Okay, ito na, dito. So, okay. Karmela, please edit mo na lang. Ang gulo ko magkwento. Okay, basta back to how did I say yes. So, ayun na nga. Half-hearted kong pumasok. Parang sabi ko, sige, try experience. And then, eventually, I stayed. Kahit nung una nalaman ko na before filing, nag-start na kami ng training. Parang sabi ko, grabe, ganito pala to. It's really hard work. Tapos mag-iisip kayo ng plans nyo for the college, plans nyo for the student body. Hindi lang basta ganun eh. Kasi you really need to know about social issues. Kasi as, oh my gosh, as a scholar ng bayan, kailangan lumalabas yung council person ka. Pero totoo naman kasi, as a student of the university, kailangan alam mo talaga, maalam ka sa what's happening outside. Kasi tayo dapat yung unang magiging of service to the country and sa people. So, ayun, eventually parang I stayed na rin kasi nandun pa rin naman feel ko nandun pa rin yung pag-serve. So, parang nagstay na lang ako for the poll and yun nga, yung wish ko to serve and siguro na rin peer pressure. Let's face it, peer pressure talaga siya sa mga sama kong tao na pinuportahan naman ako, especially you guys. As in, kayo yung ako parang ang dami kong doubts sa sarili ko na tumakbo, pero kayo hindi. Hindi kayo nag-doubt. I don't know what you saw in me na to represent you, pero thank you very much to all of you guys. So,
I can't speak for the others,
ayun.
but ako, nandun ako sa point na wala na akong pake sa student formations and student councils, particularly yung mga orgs na medyo political leaning kasi
Mhm.
in ENG, I don't know if you know this about me, I was a campaign manager.
Yeah, nakwento mo nga.
Yeah, so
Girl, yung isa sa mga taong nagsabi sa akin na what to do and what not to do.
Really? Sinabi ko ba yun sa'yo? Kasi like for
Remember?
2
Yes.
elections, nahatak lang din akong mag-campaign manager kasi 'di ba I have marketing skills. So ginamit nila yung
Mhm.
kapal ng mukha ko para i-transfer sa mga kandidato. And I'm like, I would not wish that stress, that fatigue on anyone kasi pagod ka na sa ACADS mo and then sa gabi kailangan mo mag-training and that training involves learning about issues, learning how to present yourself, learning how to communicate
Mhm.
effectively, how to get your message across. Basically, you get trained in what,
Mhm.
2, 3 weeks, how to be a brand, how to be a
Yeah.
politician overnight.
Mhm.
And usually, gabing-gabi na umuuwi ng training. So like when I was handling the campaign,
Yes.
hindi ako po uma-attend ng trainings. I would just send my modules to someone else and then sila yung bahalang magturo nun. Kasi
Mhm.
sabi ko, I can't commit to this schedule. So it
Yeah.
was a no for me. And then at that point, I was fresh from being burned by my orgs. I only have
Mhm.
like 2
Mhm.
orgs. Pero I was burned by both. One, overwork. As in, overwork lang talaga. And
Oo.
I don't think you know this. Yung itong iniisip kong org is the student formation org. Dun sa org na yon, it was really overworked. The people were
Uh-huh.
really nice. I felt really valued. Pero nandun ako sa stage na, hindi pa ako makaalis dun sa toxic mindset ko with the other org. Na parang, okay, I will
Mm.
get all the connections I can, I will get all the skills I can to help the first org. Yun yung mindset ko nun. So I kinda took the people that cared
Okay.
about me and valued me for my skills for granted.
Mhm.
So, yun.
Okay.
Yung second org, at that time, yun yung one of the big moments na I decided I was done with them. Well, bumalik ako,
Mhm.
pero that was the start. That was the beginning of me. That was the first time no, 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 no. That was the first time I willfully filed for a leave of absence. And then
Mhm.
kasi yung first one was when I had to take LOA from the UNIV kasi sobrang burnt out ko. And then yung second time, willful,
Okay.
hindi na ako nag-react sa kanila. So,
Mhm.
at
Mhm.
that point, nung tumakbo ka, I'm like, okay, let's support my batchmate because we're not friends yet nun, 'di ba? Hindi pa tayo close nung tumatakbo
Hindi pa
ka.
masyadong close.
Like,
Yeah.
naging close kasi tayo yung kailangang maging close kasi we're in the same batch and we're learning the same
Mhm.
things at the same time. So, like, when you need to ask someone for help, when you don't understand something or you need
Mhm.
validation, yun, kaya tayo 5 naging
Yeah.
close. It was not really
Yeah.
out of wanting, but it was by force of nature kasi tayong 5 yung magkakasama for so long.
Hindi ko in-expect yun na sobrang parang like
Girl,
it will come to this.
nung 101 nga, halos walang nag-uusap. Kayo lang ni Leia yung nag-uusap. Tas ang layo namin ni Eugene sa
Yeah.
isa't isa and Gabe has her own thing. While you guys are org mates, hindi kayo
Mhm.
batchmates and she has her other friends. So like, hindi ko ina-expect na magiging close ng ganito. Especially during the I need air moment. Hindi ko, akala ko make or break na yon. Kasi like, basta yon. I need space pala. It's
Yeah.
not I need air. Basta yon. Yung thing na yon, I really didn't expect na kaya ko kayong kausapin for things other than ACADS. Kasi I think for a while, I separated that because of really,
Mm.
really bad experiences with people I should not have been friends with in the first place. But yeah, going back to
Mm.
you running, feeling ko since everyone was pressuring you to run, nakisama lang kami. Like, okay, sige. And the next year, si Leia naman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
out of all of us, ako lang talaga yung nakakaalam kung gaano kabigat yung papasukin niyo. Kasi
I think Leia din kasi
no, I
si
don't think she had
Leia, ano
any.
yun eh.
Kasi she was,
Council yun sa LB.
yeah, I know,
Though.
she was counsel sa LB, but not during Comres.
Yeah.
Ang akin
Yeah.
lang kasi,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yes.
ang akin lang nung point na yun was, alam ko yung papasukin niyo, feeling ko kaya niyo naman, pero nung nakita ko kung paano niyo patayin yung sarili niyo overwork, I'm like, okay, let's put a stop to this because I've seen so many people sa Eng Council, sa ESC, na
Mhm.
they killed themselves trying to juggle ACADS and council work. Kasi alam ko kung ano yung ano. I had so many friends who ran for
Oo.
council kasi nga ako yung part ng nagtitrain and part ng nag-aano ng campaign. namin. So, feeling ko, hindi nyo alam yung pinapasok nyo talaga at that point. Especially since bago kayo ng Diliman. And I've been here for what,
Yeah.
4 years by that time? 4.5 years.
Mhm.
So I know how the university politics system work. Alam ko kung paano siya tumatakbo, lalo na sa campaign. Kasi sa campaign lang naman sineseryoso ng lahat ng tao. Pagdating sa implementation, wala na. And like most things in life.
Tsaka
So,
pagdating ulit ng
ng next election, saka
pagdating ulit,
babalik.
yeah.
So, yun
Yeah.
yung thing with me na, looking back, maybe I shouldn't have egged you on. Kasi alam ko at least ngayon may knowledge na ako na, sobrang dali nitong ma-fall sa peer pressure. Tapos yung buong batch niya sinasabi, yeah, please represent our batch. And feeling ko din kasi, I wanna share a story na medyo tangential doon.
Sige.
Because while Chloe was being groomed to run, like nung first semester namin as commerce students, joke, no. It was my second semester in commerce. Kasi this was my second time taking the major. Oo, kasi I dropped the
101.
first time. And then, and that's a story for another time. We might wanna discuss why I dropped 101 and risk being delayed for a whole year in graduating. But nung time na to, she was the representative for the Freshie, Shifty, and Transferee Student Council. So, while the college has its own council, merong mini council for the sole purpose of helping yung mga taong bago sa college. And those are Freshies, Shifties, and Transferees. Leah was the commerce representative. And then, I think the very first time I messaged her was like, hi, can you explain to me what the FSRC manual is? And this was a manual na parang, basta lahat ng orgs, the way I understand it is, lahat ng orgs ng college refused to be accredited at that time in protest of the manual.
Yeah.
And it was because, I actually forgot why.
Sobrang anti-student niya kasi, tsaka anti-org. Ito pa yung kailangan 12 active members excluding
And
the
then
execom.
parang kailangan
Yun
the
yun.
execom had to have their grades okay. May grade,
Yeah, oo.
bawal ng
Bawal
tres.
ng tres
I think
ata,
at least
ganon.
2.5
Yeah.
eh.
Mm-mm.
Kasi
Yeah,
di ba
oo.
tayo
Yung mga ganon.
in the department, we have may cut-off tayong 2.5, di ba?
Yeah.
275 ba?
75.
I thought it was 2.5 the whole time. Oh well, nice to know. Now I'm done with it. So, ayun, parang since ang daming ang tao when they run for a position in the organization na hindi, kumbaga napapabayaan, one thing has to give. Because you can't have an okay social life, a very active participation in organizations, no matter what organization, a stellar academic track, and love life, kung may love life ka, family life, if you are living with your family. So, hindi mo siya pwedeng pagsabay-sabayin. One thing has to give. And by experience, a lot of people who run for councils, student councils, and organizations, like executive positions in organizations, their grades tend to suffer. It's either that or they mismanage their responsibilities in the organization.
Hindi na sila umuwi ng bahay. As in,
we have this batchmate.
full-time.
Kasi I applied nung, I think, third year first sem or third year second sem. Basta third year second sem standing. I applied dun sa org ni Chloe na department-based. And then, my buddy there, I hope she's listening. She doesn't go home before 11 p.m. The last time I asked her, or 12 p.m. So, she had so many organizations. She had, namin yung org. Sobrang active niya sa orgs niya inside the university and outside. Because I know she has outside orgs. And then, pabibo din siya sa class. Basta pabibo siyang person in general. And that's not the bad pabibo. But it kinda is in a sense na sometimes I wonder kung natulog pa siya. So, yun. One thing really has to give. And then, maybe siguro a prelude to what we're gonna discuss after hearing our experiences is, if you don't really learn how to say no, something in your life will suffer as a result. So, parang yun yung naging experience ni Chloe with what we recounted nung episode 2. Dahil napa-oo siya, na peer pressure siya, na umano. Ayan, I forgot. Going back to Leah's story. So, parang ako kasi ang taas na ng expectations ko with members of the student council in general. Kasi you have to know everything. You have to represent your constituents well. And you have to represent your college college
Yeah.
at the same time. And then, you're not an
Mhm.
individual anymore. You're part of a collective who represents the entire student body. So,
Mhm.
wala kang excuse na hindi mo siya alam, ganyan-ganyan. So, I first went to our then Commerce rep na friend din ni Chloe. Yeah,
Okay. Wait.
I don't know if I'm gonna edit out your
Oh my
reaction.
gosh.
Anyway, so
Wala lang.
I first went
Ano
to
naman
this
niya yan?
person and then I asked, ano ba tong FSRC manual? I'm new in the college and I haven't heard this in all my 3 years stay in UP. Here's the
Mhm.
thing. At that point, mas matanda talaga
Mhm.
ako doon sa commerce rep because I've been in the university.
So, tanda ka sa
Yeah, and
kanya.
academic-wise. Because I've been
Oo.
here 4 years by that time. I'm like,
Mhm.
nung minessage niya ako,
Yeah.
welcoming me to the college because lumabas na yung list of accepted shifties, he was like, message me for any help. But
Mhm.
like, when I messaged him the first time for the FSRC manual, I got nothing. Hindi niya ako binalikan. Like, I asked him, and then sabi niya, pagtatanong niya
Okay.
rin sa council, tapos di niya binalikan. I'm like, shouldn't you know, you're in the council and you guys put out a statement about it? Like, iba dapat alam mo yun?
Mhm.
As a
Yun kasi ang hirap sa council na, yung sobrang divided by the political parties. Di ba dapat nandun ka na? As
ang
in,
standard
wala na
bearers ba
yun.
nun
Pero
was
kasi,
red? Red ba yung standard bearers?
yes, yes,
Walang
yes,
standard
yes.
bearer na yellow? Okay.
Wala.
Gets.
3 lang ata sila.
Majority red
Majority.
nung ano na yun eh.
Majority sa
Kasi
kabilang party.
doon talaga ako na-off sa kanya. And I remember I was discussing this with a friend when I was with a friend when I first messaged that commerce rep. And then
Mhm.
I asked, I said,
Mhm.
I don't train, people in Eng this way. I don't train my CS reps this way. So, this is so disappointing. As someone na alam yung
Mhm.
rigor ng election process and how you have to be informed about
Mhm.
everything, specifically with UP being a
Mhm.
very politically active university, na you have to have a stand and you have to keep informed of social issues and different issues around you. So, sobrang na-disappoint ako noon and na-off ako. As in,
Mhm.
dumating ata sa point na lagi kong sinasabi dun sa friend na yun na ayoko siyang rep. Hindi ko feel na nire-represent niya ako because I feel like I can represent myself better than he can. And at that point, it was
Oh
really
my
true. Kasi
gosh.
I've been in UP for 4 years, so I know the game.
Totoo naman.
It's not,
Valid
it's
naman.
not being braggish. It's not being nagmamalaki ako. It's not that. It was more of, I was so disappointed kasi bakit inelect. Tapos pagka-elect, hindi mo na makuha yung same quality na I would
Mhm.
have imagined na yung
Mhm.
level of effort na he exerted when he was running. Because
Mhm.
like, running for office isn't just,
Mhm.
hi, this is my name. These are my very nice
Yeah,
sounding
it's not.
plans. Please vote for me. Remember my name.
Yes.
Remember my face. Kasi you always say na, lapitan niyo ako pag may kailangan kayo. If you have questions, ask
Mm.
me. But once people actually come to you tapos hindi nila makuha yung hinahanap nila na sagot sa'yo or service
Mhm.
or a level of parang clarification from you, it's gonna affect them so much more negatively than you think. Lalo na kung binoto ka
Mhm.
nila and they were gonna think, I voted for you. I believed in your promises. So, ano na?
Siguro share lang rin natin yung parang paano ba yung political
Oh,
atmosphere
it's
in
really
UP.
intense.
Kasi 'di ba, like
In a
when
sentence,
it's like
it's
a
like
mini,
the
yeah,
Philippine
sobrang
government elections na naka-microcosm in a
mhm.
shorter amount of time. Like, may black propaganda, lalo na pag university level. I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Mas grabe pa yung black propaganda
The
kaysa,
actual
to be honest,
campaigning.
sa like, yeah, tsaka yung big, as in compared to yung national elections natin, grabe ang black
And
propaganda ng local
basically,
party
siguro
politics
ang
ng UP.
makakwento ko, lalo na sa univ-wide elections, no, and campaigning, it's a line of people across different colleges, different departments under one slate. So they have one org that access
Mhm.
their slate. So kunwari, if the Philippine government, it's like Liberal Party versus Nationalista versus ano pa bang parties natin? Because our parties don't really exist eh.
Mhm.
That's the thing. In Philippine government, when once elected, the parties dissolve. And they form their own
Mhm.
factions based on who's allied to whom. In UP, it's more
Mhm.
like the American elections na,
It
yeah,
reflects, lahat ng gagawin mo
yeah.
naka-reflect
Like,
dun sa political
sometimes you
party
don't
mo.
talk to your counterparts in other departments or other
Mhm.
committees kasi they're from a different party. Lalo na if your party is the majority
Yeah.
party, sobrang kawawa nung mga
Mhm.
independents tsaka nung minority party. Kasi
True.
communication blackouts really do happen. Minsan may plano yung iba na
Mhm.
hindi kayo may inform. And pag nagmi-meeting kayo,
Mhm.
akala nyo
Mhm.
okay, happy-happy. Pero on the back end of it, sobrang lala nung bashing na nagaganap, sobrang toxic.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
don't know if you
gosh.
experienced that because ako, galing ako sa mas toxic at mas intense na political dynamic.
Yun nga eh.
Mas
Yeah.
intense sa eng eh.
Yeah, sabi nga nila, as in
Like,
yung mga kwento.
engineering,
Yung
UP-eng,
mga kwento like before din sa
UP-eng is
Mascom.
really, feeling ko nasa actual, elections ako ng Philippines. Local or national because
Mm.
sobrang intense. Friendships really do break over Tapos, once
Mhm.
you ally yourself with a certain party, there's no going back. Merong parties na certain frats doon lang. And then sa other party, as in,
Mm,
ang lala.
yeah.
Sobrang
Yeah.
toxic nung political party environment. So, I really decided once I got to Mascom and I saw how more, hindi naman aktivista, pero more civically engaged the people there are.
Yes.
I really decided na
Mhm.
I will not choose a party because I disagree with some points of both parties and I agree with some points of both.
Mhm.
Pero yun, hindi mo ko
Mhm.
mapapapili kasi not one party really describes what my beliefs are and what I stand for. Unlike nung sa Eng na sobrang clear eh. Clear cut yun. As in sa Mascom, pwede pa kayo maging friends. Sa Eng hindi.
Mhm.
Merong cases na sa Eng hindi.
Okay. Grabe, ang
Mhm.
toxic nun
Friendships
ah.
really do break because of
Sobrang
parties and
toxic.
like sobrang magiging herd mentality na kayo na yeah, you have to bash people from this org kasi they're bashing us too or they're doing bad stuff too or we
Mm.
have to rise above
Mhm.
them pero at the same time we also have to sink down to their level. So I've heard that a lot of times.
Mhm.
And while medyo lumayo na ako dun sa original story ko, siguro yun na lang yung story ko for this episode, na I think
Mhm.
a lot of candidates, lalo na for student councils, are pressured into running without them really knowing what they're agreeing to. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really bad thing.
Dugot
Mm-mm.
pawis ang ibibigay mo when you enter, like right from the very before even filing for
Yeah.
candidacy. Sobrang, and hindi ko alam, like comparing from other friends na nag-run for council sa ibang college, they prepare like a
Sa
semester
amin a year.
before,
A year. 1 year
supposedly.
before ginagroom.
Ayun, 1 year. Pero kasi, dahil na din yung mga tao sa Mascom, like the past year, sobrang ayaw na nila maging involved dun sa toxic environment na yon. Sobrang ayaw na rin nila maging politically involved kasi parang you can be of service naman to the students even without being in council. So, why choose to, kill yourself? Talaga, kill
Kasi
yourself.
I think
So,
it
ayun.
starts with you being pressured to say yes and then your whole identity gets stripped away. Tapos babasagin nila yon and then
Yes.
remake it into something marketable, something packaged for people to, yeah, I resonate with that. I like those ideals. Yeah, I'll vote for them. Kasi yun yung ultimate goal eh. As in, it
Mm-hmm.
stops when people vote for you. It stops at election night. It really stops there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
sobrang sad kasi not a lot of orgs. I mean, for me, at least my experience was we try to keep our candidates, we call them candies. We keep our candidates accountable na, okay, kumusta na yung
Mm-hmm.
policy nyo? Ano na yung initiative nyo? Kasi it's really hard, lalo na when people from different parties are elected and then they have to work together. Kasi yung
Mm-hmm.
platform nung
Mm-hmm.
representatives na, for example, kami kasi nun, we need like 2 or 3 representatives bilang mas malaki kami
Mhm.
than Comres. But
Mhm.
lalo na yung times na kapag from different parties yung nananalo, oo, kailangan nyo lang
Nanalo.
i-figure out yung compromise na what projects can we really enact? Anong projects yung pwede nating
Mhm.
tanggalin? Ano yung projects na mas makaka-benefit sa constituents? And
Mhm.
we really keep them accountable. And I know a lot of parties don't do that. Like, it really stops at election for a lot of
Yeah.
different political parties. And I think it's also a nice time to highlight to those people, lalo na yung mga nag-aspire maging student council, yung mga namemressure ng tao na maging student council, na you have to learn.
Mhm.
Going
Budol
going
talaga
back to a
yun,
few
eh.
episodes back, you have to learn how to set your limits. You have to know kung kaya mo yung trabaho o hindi.
Yes.
Kasi if not, you're just gonna end up burnt
Yeah.
out and then your job not done. or half-baked and your constituents suffering
Mhm.
ultimately for it.
Yeah, totoo. Tapos ang problema pa sa akin, it's go big or go home talaga ako when it comes to this. Sobrang bibigay ko talaga yung buong puso ko kapag if I become part of something. And that's something na bad kasi I don't ask for help also. That's the problem with me. As in, as much as possible, akuin ko yan.
Mhm.
Ako na lang lahat. I don't wanna be a burden to other people. So maybe yun rin yung big factor na hindi ko pa natutunan that time. Tapos pumasok ako sa ganung environment. Pero syempre, then again, let's not, tawag dito, discourage people from running. Kasi if you feel like you wanna be of service
I think
talaga, just know na ito yung
I think
haharapin mo. And you have to, set your limits, learn how to say,
I think the biggest
sige, go.
thing we can impart to people, with me being the person on the back end and Chloe bilang yung tao na napatakbo, is you really have to sacrifice a lot if you wanna serve. Kasi it's not just about you anymore. The
Yeah.
moment you decide na, oh, maybe I think I want to, kahit hindi ka pa sure, pero yung napapirma ka na ng for filing, the minute that starts and people won't stop hounding you until you say yes. Kasi I've been there na hindi mo titigilan yung isang prospective candidate until may mapa-oo ka na sa tingin mo makakatulong sa department mo or people you want to represent you. It's really a big sacrifice. You have to ask yourself, ano yung kaya kong ibigay at hanggang saan yung kaya kong ibigay? Kasi you can't give everything. Going back to
Yeah.
our foundationals, you have to really learn how to set your limits and know in the first place, kaya ko bang gawin yung pinagagawa nila? Kasi baka naman at one point, kaya ka lang tumatakbo kasi na-feel mo na na-flatter ka na, ako, kinonsider ako, kailangan niyo ako. And that lure is really hard to resist, na knowing you're important to people and knowing na, wow, ang taas pala
Yeah.
ng tingin nila sa akin. So sometimes, it's not about kaya mo bang gawin yung trabaho. You also have to ask, am I the right person for the job? Kasi ang daming tumatakbo kasi na peer pressure lang sila. For example, our last representative, I'm not sure if he wanted to run, but he ran. And I know his academic performance suffered for it. I mean, I love you as a person. I hope you're listening to the podcast. But I think it's time I let you know na, hey, your mistakes, yung mga pagkukulang mo was really too much for me to ignore. And I've mentioned earlier in the episode na I have a really high standard when it comes to student formations and student representation. And Leah knows that kasi syempre, kahit magkaibigan kami, kung tatakbo siya, alam niya yung standard ko. Kasi ako, kailangan niya ako ma-please para masabi na she's doing a good work. Kasi my standards are up here. And like, normal council standards like down here. Kasi si Chloe din, 'di ba? Like when it comes to working, you had to ask me multiple times if tama ba yung ginagawa mo, okay pa ba yung ginagawa mo, without me having a context. Kasi my friends know what kind of standards I set. And they're impossibly high. But I guarantee if you meet those standards, you're performing excellently. Yun yung akin eh. Kasi I'm so used to such a high level of excellence I place myself into. Lalo na if you're gonna represent me, I hold you to that same standard. And it's sad na ang daming taong in masscom na I really thought would meet that, didn't. Lalo na in student representation. You know, when they sound good on paper and they sound good in word of mouth, pero pagdating sa trabaho, hindi talaga.
Yeah.
I can forgive people who don't know what they're doing because they have no idea. It's not that they're incompetent. It's just that they weren't equipped. Pero, alam mo, I call it incompetency na kapag hindi mo alam na you're not doing a good job, or when people tell you you're not doing a good job, you're refusing to acknowledge that and do something about it. That's incompetence and willful negligence for me. And I can't stand by that. At ang dami kong, in my 3 short years of being a mass comm student, ang dami ko nakitang ganon. And in my 3 years of being a computer science student, ang dami ko rin nakitang ganon. And, you know, why settle? If you know you deserve better, with the case of this government, bakit ka magsasettle na nag-aabang ka na lang ng, you know, magbibigay sa'yo ng ayuda, magbibigay sa'yo ng tulong, when you know your leaders can do something about it. And that's really the kind of standard that we should hold everyone into. Na-shift na yung main focus ng episode, but like, for those of you wanting to go into student formations and student councils, you have to know when to say no. And you also have to know kung bakit ka magno-no. So, yun lang. Going going back to our previous life lessons with us, set your limits, be firm about it, and know when to say no.
Yeah. Oy, hindi lang naman doon, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Ang
It's very applicable in a
pagsasabi
lot
ng
of
no.
contexts. For example, I will give an example that Chloe doesn't know yet. This is the first time she's gonna hear about it. Well,
Oh,
part
I'm
of it.
excited.
Yeah, you know part of it. Eh. So I'm onboarding a new job. I accepted the job offer a few weeks
Palakpak,
ago.
palakpak. Can you press
Press the
palakpak?
clap
Yeah,
button.
yes, yes.
Baka yung laughter button yung na-press ko eh. Delikado na.
Good job,
Anyway,
Karmela.
so I got that. And then, I think I fit really well into the company in the sense na their values are the same as mine. And when I was applying for jobs, that was my first consideration kasi na it wasn't gonna be about the money for me yet. Kasi I don't have dependents yet. I'm living comfortably. I mean, I don't have my usual luxury. Like, hindi na lang ako basta-basta makalabas to buy something. Hindi ako basta-basta makapagpa-deliver. Kasi you also have to think about the other people in the house. So, kung magpapadeliver ka ng McDo, dapat good for 10 people. And ayaw mo namang gumastos ng good for 10 people, so huwag ka mag-McDo. My current situation now, I'm living comfortably. I am not paying for anything yet. I have my parents' support, my relative support. So, I don't ask for much. I don't want for anything. So, I'm onboarding this job. And then, a few weeks back, I made the conscious decision of accepting another part-time offer. It's a one-time project-based thing. I never actually thought it would be this demanding. Sometimes it's even more demanding than my actual job because my actual job is chill when things are in the right circumstances. Let's just put it at that. When the conditions are met, it's really chill. Like I sit there for 8 hours, mostly 5 hours because I stand most of the time and roam the house. Pero yun, I have the luxury to roam the house. I can eat when I want to kasi I'm not in an office naman eh. I'm working in the comforts of my own home. So if I have to dress up, I only have to dress up my top half and go party on the bottom. Kung gusto ko magpajama, go lang. Kung hindi makikita sa cam. So, that's been my situation for the past week. Basically, I didn't know when to stop accepting work, which is bad because I'm preaching about it. Kasi I keep telling people na you have to make time for yourself. You have to, kailangan mong alagaan yung sarili mo to work effectively. And I never thought na onboarding a company and getting used to your new job, while it's a job I think I'm competent for, it's the extra work because I have to help my siblings. Paano ba sila mag-online class? Because they're not 100% sure with it eh. Kasi mas experienced naman ako with figuring out software than they are. I have to help my mom from time to time. I have to help my dad from time to time. And for the most part, they leave me alone. So that's a blessing naman. But it's the stress I'm putting myself through because I have the podcast. Full disclosure, I edit everything you see. So, well, most
Thanks,
of the things
Karmela.
you see.
Clap, clap. Plus
Wait
clap.
lang, where's the clap? So, yun, I edit most of the things you see. Because at that time, the time when we started
Ako
this
talaga yung guest
podcast,
dito. Guest lang talaga ako dito. Para
si
lang may
Chloe
kausap
talaga
si
yung
Carmela.
si Chloe yung pader na sasagot,
Yeah.
ganon. Pero,
Guest lang ako dito.
I took on that work kasi I was so bored. And like, I needed to ease myself into a busy lifestyle again. But I think I did a 0 to 100 really quick. I'm
Very quick.
Yeah, I'm very ambitious about my deadlines. Chloe knows this. I set deadlines I know I cannot achieve.
Ako yung taga-sabi ng sure ka ba? As in, mga 3 times ko muna sasabihin na sure ka ba?
Minsan 5 para safe.
Yes.
Kasi I set deadlines we normally can't achieve. When it comes to ACADS, lagi tayong 1 day late. Kasi kapag ako mag-set, parang sobrang ideal niya na hindi siya attainable. And I'm aware. Aware naman ako doon. Pero talaga, hindi ko, sabi kasi nung description, when for the side work, akala ko talaga ang dali lang. Kasi sabi, it's gonna be easy. You're just gonna run data. I'm gonna send you files. I didn't know I'm gonna have to clean the data, make a structure for the data, and run it, and then manually input it and interpret it. And,
Good pay. Dapat good pay to ha. Kasi,
I don't know the rate because it's really not
Oh my
about the money
gosh.
for me. It really was just, okay, I want something to do, but I also want to get paid for it.
Mhm.
So, I like data, I like running data, so let's accept kasi walang tumatanggap, eh. Sabi ko, "Okey sige, ako ang
Mhm.
tatanggap." Tapos wala atang may gusto, 'di ba? Kasi
Wala.
I waited, eh. Walang may gusto and then tama yung mga taong wag siyang gustuhin. Kasi I think the reason why I'm so stressed is because I expect perfection quick.
Mhm.
Na I thought I could set it up, run everything, pass everything, and ang sabi pa sa'kin, it should be finished in 3 days. It can't be finished in 3 days. Yeah, ang sabi
Oh
sa'kin when I
my
was first
gosh.
briefed was it could be finished by Thursday last week.
Oh my gosh.
We're still doing revisions, but once I got hang of the data and how it moved, kaya ko na siyang gawin. Pero I think the
Mhm.
most frustrating part is it's easy naman, pero matrabaho siya kasi ang laki
Mhm.
niya. Ang laki ng
Mhm.
dataset and ako ayokong masayang siya especially since you can get insights
Ang
from
hirap
it.
nga nun. Yeah. Especially big datas. Oh my gosh, sobrang
Hindi pa siya big data. Like
Hindi pa siya, pero madami.
less than 2,000 yung sample size. Ang daming variables and then
Ang daming variables.
ang daming
Okay.
variables. Tapos may isang dataset na I had to split in two kasi one's
Hmm.
weighted, one's raw. Once I got the syntax, it's easy. But
Mhm.
I had to make the dataset from scratch. I had to clean the data myself. And I had to manually make sure all 1,500 something cases are okay.
Mm.
Kasi ayokong may sumasabog sa dataset, eh. 'Pag nag-run ako ng
Mhm.
syntax, alam mo naman top to bottom isang run tapos copy
Mm.
everything. So,
Mm.
yun yung frustration ko with that. And then, so there's that. So, it's taking up like 2 to 3 hours every night. I decide to do it or meron akong gagawin. Kasi I took
Mhm.
a break nung Saturday. Like, I didn't work at all nung Saturday.
Mhm.
I had that. And then, today was the first day of work. No, it was the second day. It was the second day of work na I really didn't feel like I like what I'm doing
Hmm.
because the conditions weren't met. So, sobrang
Mhm.
struggle nung work today.
Mhm.
But like, you know me, when I have my space and I don't talk to people, I recharge. But napunta ako dun from 6 months of talking to people only when I want to and being forgiven for
Mhm.
not responding quick to having
Mhm.
to check my messages constantly and
Mhm.
checking, okay, ano nang kailangan kong gawin? Do I have to update people? Do I have to keep
Mhm.
myself updated of people? And meron ding time na I had to be on a call for like the whole work day.
Mhm.
And that drained me so much na
Mhm.
dun sa last part na I had to meet a lot of people at once via Zoom. I'm like,
Mhm.
my energy levels really just wasn't
Mhm.
there. So, ayun. So, if you see me tired while recording the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, please know it's because I spent a full day at work with minimal sleep because my insomnia's back. And, I still have to find a way to properly process the stress. I mean, I'm sleeping enough. But my
Mhm.
body's been used to 10 hours, 12 hours. Tapos biglang she gets 6 to 8. Hindi niya bet
Mhm.
yun.
Mhm.
So yun, another life tip from me. So it's learn how to set your limits. Know what your limits are. Set them. Be firm about them. Learn how to say no. And then may sinabi pa ako after that, no?
Do'n pa lang tayo sa learn how to
Okay.
say no.
Learn how to say no and learn how to pace yourself. So yun yung
Hmm.
bago kong addition kasi I don't know how to say no when it comes to my own self. I know how to
Oh.
say no to other people perfectly well. Pero
Mhm.
pagdating sa gusto ko ng ganto, ang hirap. So like,
Mhm.
gusto kong bigay ng example sa'yo yung sale. Like, I wanna segue to sales, like the 9-9, the ten
Okay.
ten, 11-11, 12-12. I have a long list. I have a
Mhm.
list of needs, immediately need. I have also a want, nice to have, must buy in the next blank amount
Back
of months. So,
mm.
ang dami kong listahan ng bibilhin. Tapos, hindi siya nauubos. So,
Mhm.
it's only recently, like the past 2 years or so, no, actually the past year, that I've learned how to stop myself from impulse buying things. Because before,
Mhm.
when I had a makeup phase, I just bought anything I wanted. Kasi kaya ko naman bilhin. And wala naman akong
Mhm.
sinasacrifice. I don't sacrifice my food for it. I don't sacrifice my other expenses for it. So,
Mhm.
ngayong nag-aayos ako ng makeup when I moved back home, I was like, ba't ang dami kong lipstick, ang dami kong foundation, di ko naman lahat nagagamit. Like, baka ma-expire lang 'to sa'kin.
Mhm.
So, from there, nung na-realize ko rin kung gaano na kalala yung spending limits ko. Kasi every
Mhm.
month ata, laging may pa-package
Mhm.
sa'kin sa dorm. Like, alam na ni
Mhm.
ate guard kung
Mhm.
'pag ako yung may order. So, I slowly learned how to say no, lalo na 'pag may sale. Like, it's such a nice word na
Sale.
and
Yeah.
free shipping.
Yes.
It's such a very nice word. And I've
Yes.
had a huge problem with learning how to control kasi I had my own money. I was not living with my parents. I basically had full autonomy over
Mhm.
I ate, when I slept, where I
Mm.
went, mostly full autonomy over my life for the past 6 years or so. So, moving back home, sobrang hirap na once I'm craving not to order, once
Mhm.
felt like I needed something not to buy.
Mhm.
Because before I had to really ask people, do I really need this? So, meron akong mga katulong na, so I want this, bibilhin ko ba? And then,
Mhm.
I make sure na yung pagtatanungan ko, hindi yung sasabihin niya, sige go, ang ganda niyan. Kasi pag kami ni
Mm.
Chloe, wala na ubos na pera. Like,
It's over.
yeah, sometimes I tell her, gusto kong bumili ng 10,000 peso na yung book binding thing. Yeah, it's still on my list, by the way. That's still on my list. But G siya. G rin ako. So like, ubos pera namin pareho. Ang dami namin gustong bilhin ni Chloe na nagkakasundo kami. But it's a
Sobra.
good
Oh my
thing. It's
gosh.
a good thing na hanggang ngayon hindi ko pa na-add to cart. Because like, my cart never goes empty. I'm the add to
Mhm.
cart person. I'm the add to cart online shopper. And then I let it sit there for months, sometimes even years, before I
Mhm.
buy it. Lalo na pag malalaking purchases.
Mhm. Basically, patama lahat ng sinasabi mo sa akin right now.
Well, technically patama siya sa akin and my past self for,
Mhm.
pagiging gastador. But, kung natamaan ka, edi good. Yun lang talaga yun.
Talaga, ang purpose talaga, like during, for me naman, nung may pasok pa, mas in control ako of my spending. As in, sobrang, ako talaga taga-control usually sa friends ko ng no, don't buy. Pero ngayon, now that I'm at home, wala akong ginagawa. Girl, oh my gosh, mayat maya, ang delivery. And it's bad kasi
I think
wala.
nagpalit tayo kasi ako ngayong nasa bahay, I have close to like less than 1,000 spending in a month, which is good. So like, especially now that I'm earning my own money, I'm trying to put it in such a way. This is what I learned from the investment seminar,
Mhm.
one-on-one. Basta the investment thing I went to.
Mhm.
Like, pay yourself first by saving first and investing first. So, like, kami kasi, ang laking deal sa family ko ng tithing. So, for people who don't know,
What?
tithing is tithing. It's
What
not
is
for
it?
Catholics eh. So, sa simbahan, kapag nagpapasa sila ng for offering,
I get you. Yes,
but
yes.
for us, it's an automatic 10% of whatever you
30%,
make.
yeah. Mm.
So,
Dapat,
whatever,
ganun talaga actually, dapat lahat.
yeah.
It's supposed to be 10%.
When I was
Pero hindi
Catholic,
mandatory for Catholic. Hindi
yeah,
siya
when I was
mandatory. Just give
Catholic,
what...
it wasn't taught eh, when I was Catholic.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
nung nagpalit kami ng religion, saka ko siya mas naintindihan kasi we actually talk
Mhm.
about money in this house. So, then automatic, anumang pera matanggap namin, kami magkakapatid, we set aside the 10%, lalo na ngayong quarantine kasi it's such a big deal. My brother's earning from commission. So, this is my
Mhm.
sisterly duty to let all of you guys know that my brother is accepting art
Commercial break!
commissions. Yeah, kasi wala pa
Commercial
kaming
break!
sponsors for this
Oh,
episode.
ad. Ito
So,
yung ad.
this
Ad
episode is
segment.
brought to you by my brother's art. Parang every episode na lang akong may sinisegue na pinagkakakitaan ng pamilya ko. So, my brother is doing art, like digital art, and he's open for commissions. But that's been taking a bit of a pause kasi he's trying to get settled in his online classes and how the new learning system is gonna be managed. So, ayun, yun yung thing niya this quarantine. Kasi he wanted money for himself or when he wanted internet, na hindi siya magigilty na makakap na naman yung internet namin at the end of the month before it's supposed to be capped. Because, ayun, basta we're still in the process of upgrading our internet. Hello, work, please pay me so I can upgrade my internet. So, kapag
Yeah.
may mga glitchy sounds or glitchy videos for those of you consuming via YouTube, please blame my internet. It's really my internet connection. So,
Sorry, hindi po kami kasing ganda ni Liza Soberano.
yeah, hindi kami, hindi ganun kalakas yung powers namin. So,
Yeah.
ayun. Yeah. And that's the commercial for this episode. So, if you can see, Chloe has a mic now with a, I don't know what you call that. It's the table arm ng mic. I have yet to buy myself that arm, so I don't have to hold my mic every time. But yeah, we're slowly improving the quality because we're starting to invest in this passion project of ours. Wink, wink to our friends. So we keep telling this is a passion project. So,
You know who you are. Please
yeah.
support.
Please support or else. Ayun. Basically yun, wala naman akong gastos this month kasi living back home with my family made me reevaluate what the wants and the needs are. So yung absolute need, syempre kasi sa nanay at sa tatay ko pa bibilhin, hindi naman ako lumalabas. And as much as possible, they want to buy it personally kesa ipa-deliver online. Especially for little things. And I have to think din na paano naman yung ibang tao sa bahay kasi my things have become communal things. I have no personal thing anymore. Well, I got the iPad back kasi at one point became a WePad. My mom keeps calling her iPad a WePad because everyone uses it. So, ayun.
Okay.
Yeah, if you got this far, please comment WePad down below. Ano ba?
Yes.
One way of learning how to curb yourself and saying no to those enticing sales and promos and free shipping na alam mo ba never nag-work yung free shipping sa akin kasi laging may 20 pesos na butaw or 40 pesos na butaw. So, para mapigilan yun, yung anong yun, lalo na kung nasa Manila kayo kasi next day delivery or same day delivery tapos free shipping pa. Set yourself an allowance or a budget for how much you wanna spend or how much you can afford to spend. Kasi if you keep
Sobrang
spending,
importante nun, yes.
like, importante na we spend during this weird economy to support our local businesses and help our economy get back on track. But it's also important na you're not spending more than what you have, especially since a lot of people can't really afford to spend on leisure and luxury items na like ang daming middle class na Pilipino eh. Pero ang dami ring Pilipinong nawalan ng trabaho. So you have to take that into consideration na are you trying to keep up your old lifestyle kasi nakasanayan mo na or you're trying to impress your friends? Lalo na, for example, if you're a student na nag-online class, I hope na hindi mo kumbaga, I hope hindi mo swinindle yung parents mo into buying you a laptop that's much more than you need. Because I've heard the story of like a student trying to convince his mom to buy him an ROG. Do you know what ROG is?
Ito yung gaming thing.
Yeah, it's Asus's Republic of
Tama ba?
Gamers. Yeah, it's the Republic of Gamers laptop na sobrang bongga nung specs. And you don't need that for an online class. That's for gaming. And that's for people who want to invest in gaming and trying to either have fun with it or make money out of it. But hindi mo naman kailangan ng i7 for your online class. Hindi mo rin kailangan ng 8 core for your online class. So, at lalong hindi mo kailangan ng bonggang graphics card. So, live within your means. That's a very hard subject or that's a very hard lesson that I've learned over the years. Kasi dati gastos lang ako ng gastos eh. But when I started becoming responsible for, handling my own money and trying to figure out what I can spend on what, that's taught me a great deal about how to be more independent and how to parang live on your own. Kasi hanggang ngayon, I still need to rely on other people to validate me na, hey, you're spending a lot or hey, you're doing a good job. So guys, malapit na naman magkaroon ng sale by the time you're listening to this
10-10.
episode.
Ay, 10,
11-11.
11-11.
So,
Please learn how to save. Pero kasi it's Christmas though.
pero kaya mo naman magkaroon ng masayang Christmas with the things that are most important to you. Ano ba yung importante? Si free shipping or the time with your family?
Giving gifts. Giving gifts.
Okay. So, I can't speak on that account kasi my family has not really given gifts to each other for a long time. We don't have exchange gifts on Christmas eh. Kasi for us, it's an expense we don't really need. And we have
It's a
everything we want. So if we want,
nice thing.
at least ako we have everything we want. So if I want something, I'm gonna ask if I can't afford to have it. And
Mm-hmm.
then, usually, kasi my dad has a very practical view about money.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese eh. So, he's just
Mm-hmm.
gonna say, hindi mo naman kailangan yan. Aanhin mo yan. He lets us do whatever we want with our own money.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, he's gonna express his opinions about it. There was this one
Mm-hmm.
Christmas season. Kasi pag Christmas season, parang sweldo season dito sa amin. So, my
Mm-hmm.
brother went ahead and bought a new phone. Ang
Mm-hmm.
ginawa niya, umutang siya sa akin and then my sister. And then to couple that with his savings, nakabili siya ng phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad was mad about it. Kasi he didn't need a new phone. He wanted a new phone, but his old phone was usable. Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
nagtsatsaga pa rin ako into a not updating iPhone 6 na meron ng black sa screen. Na sabi nung technician ay dahil na dadaganan ko daw, which is impossible because I haven't used it in a long time. So, I've had this phone for so long. I'm
8
only
years
gonna
na, girl.
No, it hasn't been 8 years since I had this phone eh. But like, it's been a while. It stuck with me
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. And hindi ko siya papalitan kasi I'm finally
Until March
earning.
2021.
Yeah, hindi ko siya papalitan because I'm finally earning. Papalitan
Mm-hmm.
ko siya kasi alam ko, once nag-start na yung black na linya, malapit na yung phone ko.
Mm-hmm.
Yun talaga yung point nun. Like, chinaga ko siya na mahirap sumagap ng signal, whether ng wifi or ng anything. Doon sa, may face pa siya na after 30 minutes, mamamatay na siya because the battery was so dead.
Mm-hmm.
Na recently ko lang siya pinapalitan. Tapos kung kailan ko pinapalitan, saka naman lumabas yung screen, yung black sa screen. So yun, I learned that from my parents na as long as something's usable, don't look for a replacement.
Mm-hmm. Totoo naman.
So,
Yeah.
if I suggest then to all the people who's listening, make a list of the needs, the wants, the nice to haves, and the must haves, and really think it over. Tapos
Tsaka
like,
the 7-day rule.
oh yeah,
The
that
7-day
that's turned
rule.
viral, di ba?
Yeah, I do that like even sobrang before pa. Ayun, as in matagal ko na siyang iniisip, like high school pa lang ako kasi ayoko talagang nanghihingi. Like lahat ng wants ko, I buy on my own savings. As in,
Sana
ayoko
all.
talaga nanghihingi.
Sana all. Kasi
Girl.
hindi ako ganyan eh.
Mm.
Ako yung ayaw mong kasama. Kasi ako, if I really, really want something and I don't have the means for it, I'm
Mhm.
gonna ask, or if it's a big purchase, I'm gonna borrow and then I'm gonna pay you off.
Gets. Ako, hindi. As in,
Ngayon lang ako talaga naging responsible with how I handle my money. Kasi there's this one Christmas then, I impulsively bought an Instax Mini 8. Like, I'm not that into analog photography. But I just wanted an Instax because it was cute and
it's nice.
I don't remember why I wanted to buy it. Basta I've been wanting to buy it for months. And then I finally caught up and said, after one Christmas season, I'm gonna buy it. So I ordered it online. Tapos dumating siya. And my dad's like, anin mo yan?
Ano yan?
Anin mo yan? Ba't mo binili?
Yeah.
Magkano yan? So, yun.
Yeah.
That's been a nice purchase for me kasi nagagamit ko siya. I still have a huge box of photos I've had over the years. Kasi syempre, pag bumili ka ng camera, bibili ka rin ng film.
Ng film.
So, etos hindi siya
Yes.
mura. As in, mahal siya. Unless you
Yes.
buy in bulk. And then, hindi mo naman kayang bumili in bulk while you're a student because that's a big purchase. So,
Totoo.
nagamit ko siya through the years and through the events since I've had it. But at the time, I bought it just because I've been wanting it for months. I didn't need it, but I bought it because I wanted it. And that was something na I realized na, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore because I'm 23 now and I'm trying to earn my money. So my parents keep telling me, wag kang gastos ng gastos when you get your first salary. And I'm like, yeah, I have it all planned out in my head na I'm only gonna give myself a set amount na gamitin kasi that way, at least I can practice my self-control and self-discipline, which is something I'm severely lacking in and something I'm still trying to improve in. So, to sum up that very long story short, please learn how to say no when it's not essential, lalo na kapag sale at free shipping.
Ako rin, another tip from me, ang marunong lang ako mag-say no is, sa pagbili, sometimes, is that don't buy anything na wala ka pang pera. As in,
Oh, yeah.
Don't be like Karmela. Sorry, Karmela. Wag kang mangutang.
Oh my
Kailangan,
God, I'm so proud. For once, meron tayong don't be like Carmela. But yes, go.
don't be like Carmela, okay? As in, check mo muna yung wallet mo. Kapag meron kang pambili, go. And really think about it. Just apply the 7-day rule. Kung actually more than 7 days. As in, like, think about it for months. Like, kailangan ko ba to? Ano bang gagawin ko dito? Useful ba to sa akin? Does this bring me joy? Pero of course, joy kasi
And
want mo
what's
yun eh.
its return on investment?
Yes, yun din. As in, kung practical ba siya, tsaka check rin kung ano yung meron ka na. Kasi minsan, like, umuulit lang naman yan. Kaya, check what you have. Kasi ayaw rin naman natin maging hoarder. Kaya pala, kasi I fell in love with the idea of minimalism. Sobrang ganda niya. Sobrang nakaka-peace ng mind. Kasi wala ka masyadong isip. Ang meron ka lang yung mga kailangan mo in life. So, you can check that out. At saka, yun lang. That's all for me today.
I have a confession to make. Looking at my stuff in my head right now, I realize that I am a stationery holder. I mean,
Okay lang yan.
I buy notebooks
I had
because
that
they're
phase, oh.
pretty. I don't use
Girl,
them.
I've been there.
I'm
I've
still
been there.
there.
As in, okay lang yan. You can, girl, wag ka nang bibili ha, ngayon.
No,
Paano
I'm
pa ako
not. I
nag-ano
haven't
dyan?
bought
Kasi
notebooks
siguro,
since I haven't bought notebooks since last year. Kasi yung binili kong malaking notebook, actually, nandun na yung first sem, second sem notes, and semi-planner ko. Pero may space pa rin siya, tapos ginagamit ko pa rin siya ngayon. But the pretty fillers and the pretty notebooks, nakastock pa sa akin. Hindi ko pa siya, like, wala pa akong enough na puso para gamitin. Kasi I know I make mistakes. And I don't like it when pretty
I
notebooks have
get
very
you.
bad handwriting. So I
Dude.
recently shifted to digital note taking para I can erase and undo. Because I can't do that in physical notebooks eh. And then I also
What
realized,
app do you use pala?
GoodNotes 5, it's paid.
Yes. Bumili siya. Okay.
Yeah, it's paid. I mean,
Pero, okay.
I did not do the 7-day rule. But, I consulted so many people, gave them my pros and my cons, and then evaluated if I can afford it. And then my main financial advisor said, yeah, buy it. It makes you happy. You deserve it. So, yes.
Tsaka, one-time payment naman yun eh, compared to bibili ka ng ilang notebook.
When it upgrades to a different platform, I get that for free. I get the upgrade for free. And my brother can use it if he borrows
Yeah,
my
kapag
Kasi
shared. Actually, yeah. Meron ring notability yung kapatid ko. So, nakiki-ride lang ako sa notability niya.
we can talk about this in a different episode.
Yes.
But
Kasi
like
maarte nga kami ni Carmela sa mga like stationery. Girl,
so
oh
kami
my gosh.
nagkakasundo. Diyan naubos yung
We
pera
can
natin.
talk about. Yes. Pero I learned from this as in sobrang lahat ng notebooks na meron ako, lahat yon regalo. Kasi my friends know how I love notebooks and stationery. So, puro regalo na lang.
Here's the thing. Yung stationery na naka-hoard sa akin, I bought them 3 years ago. I haven't used them yet. I haven't bought a notebook since like last year when I decided I wanted a big dotted notebook. Kasi nainggit ako kay Ridge or Panem, I can't remember. Basta one of our batchmates had the huge Veco dotted notebook. Ang ganda nung quality nung paper.
Ako ata yun eh.
Hindi, maliit yung Veco mo eh. Kasi yung Veco ko nun was the regular size. You had the smallest one. I also had the smallest one eh. I didn't buy the big one kasi at the time, I could not justify the purchase to myself. Pero, nung binili ko siya, kasi ang bilis ko naubos yung regular one eh. Nung binili ko siya, yung big one, na-realize ko na sobrang worth it siya ng purchase. Kasi hanggang ngayon, nag-graduate na ako and I don't have to write things down as much. Gamit pa siya, as in it has a good 40% left. And
Yeah.
gamit na gamit siya nun ha, nung in college. Sobrang gamit na gamit niya.
Yeah,
So,
actually we should talk about this in another episode, like tips sa mga school supplies. Kasi for me also, I prefer big notebooks than the small ones. Sobrang sulit yun. Yeah, we could talk about this another time.
Let's table that for another episode. Okay, so I got a pillow because I need to fix my posture. For those of you in YouTube who suddenly saw like, bakit may unan dyan bigla? One, this is me color blocking. Hello. Number 2, this is me trying to relieve a shoulder pain na it's been bad for the past 3 days. Kasi nag-carry over siya ng weekend eh. Like, di
Mm.
ba nagpahinga na ako nung weekend, pero nag-carry over
Mhm.
siya. So,
Mhm.
going back to everything we've discussed, I think everything we wanted to say was there naman. If you're gonna take one thing from us, it's back to these steps. So, know your limits, set your limits, be firm about your limits, learn how to say no, and pace yourself. Kasi, if you don't know how to say no, and if you can't say no to people, and lalo na yung kapag nagbibigay sa inyo ng trabaho or like sales or whatever else yung napi-peer pressure kayo. Sometimes, umu-oo na kayo kahit na yung mental health nyo hindi na okay.
Mhm.
Oo kayo kasi ayaw niyong maka-disappoint ng tao and
Mhm.
you don't wanna feel like for Chloe's instance na she doesn't wanna feel like she's a burden to others. So, aakuhin niya lahat ng trabaho. And for me, dumaan ako dun, pero I think my bad thing about myself right now is aakuhin ko yung trabaho kasi I have a set standard. And
Mhm.
then, sobrang unrealistic ng expectations ko sa sarili ko that without the proper counterbalance, pinapatay ko na yung sarili ko physically and mentally trying to attain unattainable goals. So, ayun, it's really important na alam nyo kung ano yung kaya nyong i-take, kung ano yung kaya nyong gawin, at kung ano yung kaya nyong time frame na gawin siya. Especially in this pandemic na we have to be kinder to ourselves. Like the other day, because Chloe doesn't use Twitter, I think
Yes.
I saw something that made me realize na, oh yeah, I have to relearn how to be kinder to myself. Especially since I'm taking on more work again. And then I
Mhm.
had a 6-month lull na wala akong ginawa besides small things here and there. And when I saw the pattern na kung wala akong gagawin, literally wala. Pero kung tatanggap ako ng trabaho, it's 0 to 100. And that's been very bad for me. Like, you see my shoulders not okay and my posture is not okay. Physically, I'm suffering. Mentally, I think my insomnia's back because I've been so stressed the past few days na dapat naman hindi. Kasi hindi
Mhm.
pa ganun ka-stressful yung binibigay sa akin. But it was the unrealistic expectations and unrealistic time frame that I set for myself that causes me this stress. Kasi in-overestimate ko na naman yung sarili ko. So, don't be me. Don't be a Carmela. That's the point of this episode. Learn how to manage your expectations for yourself and siguro also learn how to manage your expectations for others. Kasi I've said
Mhm.
before, I have very high standards towards everything. And I set that for everyone, especially for myself. But hindi naman dun sa point na once you don't meet that standard, wala na. Friendship over who are you, I don't know you anymore. Siguro it's more of, it's okay to set high standards for yourself and for people, but you also have to make allowances. So, lalo na pag first time, hindi agad nila na-meet. Kasi whoever gets a perfect try on their first time, maybe talk to them about it and negotiate na, hey, so ganito kasi ina-expect ko and you didn't meet that. Maybe here's how I can help you improve. Or, maybe you can tell me I'm expecting too much of you kasi ito lang yung kaya mo. So, bumabalik tayo dun sa it's really important to know yourself and knowing your limits and knowing what you're capable of para you can also communicate that to other people. Ikaw ba? Ano
Yes.
bang tips mo?
Ako, well, it's parang a little disclaimer lang sa knowing ay setting your limits kasi hindi naman lahat tayo may self-awareness agad-agad. So it's also okay. It's okay to step out of your comfort zone kasi yung pag-step out mo, dun mo makikilala yung sarili mo. Pero always take it with a grain of salt na huwag mong aakuin lahat not knowing kung ano ba yung pinapasok mo. Sobrang modus yon as in don't, as a parang caution lang to yourself, always know what you're getting into. Parang ano lang yan, kunyari, sumali ka ng, tawag dito yung pyramid, basta,
Networking?
ayun, yung networking, di ba? Parang wow. Pero di mo pala alam, magbebenta ka pala, kailangan mo palang maganon. So, kailangan always take it with a grain of salt, know everything, the who, the what, the why, the how. Para at least, on that journey, dahil ano yung gagawin mo, malalaman mo kung paano, how you yourself react to these situations then. And then, what else pa ba?
I
Knowing
think,
this,
yeah,
sige,
I
go.
think going back to saying no, we also haven't addressed yung the situation na you feel like you're being taken advantage of. Kasi hindi pa namin yon talaga fully na na describe in this episode.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, I've had those experiences. I think Chloe has had those experiences.
A lot.
Pero
Oh my gosh.
yeah, in our case kasi, maybe a short kwento.
Go,
Let's give
Karmela.
myself a 5 minute
Five
time.
minutes ah.
Bantayan mo ha, five
Oh, sige,
minutes.
magsiset talaga ako ng
Okay,
timer.
sige, mag-set ka muna.
Go.
So, in terms of feeling like you're being taken advantage of, for me, that's very much org work. Kasi, I've said before na there was such a long time na I felt like ginagamit lang ako ng org kung nasan ako. Kasi keep on delivering work and delivering, not to brag, but a lot of money into them. Tapos, hindi talaga siya nare-reciprocate in such a way na I felt so undervalued. I felt so overworked. And dumating yung realization na I thought na, so they let me stay here just because they can use me. And then another friend and I had this conversation na this org, I don't know about their culture now, but at the time we felt like they collect people they can use and then discard them when they're not usable anymore, or kapag hindi mo na makuha yung same amount of use na nakukuha mo sa kanila before. And for context ni Chloe, siguro she was too kind kasi to say anything bad to those people, na she didn't really want to hurt them or offend them, na dumating sa point na sa sobrang sanay nila na ang bait ni Chloe at umuoo lang siya agad, bibigyan nila siya at bibigyan ng trabaho kasi expectation na yun, si Chloe yan, G siya for anything. Dumating sa point talaga na I saw her physically,
Yes.
mentally, and emotionally almost crash to the ground because of the weight of the expectations and the weight of yung pressure, kasi hindi ka na makahindi eh. Dumating sa
Mhm.
point na yun eh. End of story time. It was less than 5 minutes for your information.
Yes. May
Yun.
2 minutes and 36 seconds ka pa.
Yun.
Gusto mo
So, tapos na
use?
yung story time. Pero yun, I think for those cases sa amin, it's somewhat safe pa. Kasi what if you're in a relationship, like, for example, you feel like you're being used by a person in authority at hindi ka talaga makakahindi because power dynamics are in play. And not everyone has the guts at yung kapal ng muka para maging ako na, hey, this is too much for me. I can't handle this. Not everyone has the capacity to, kapalan yung muka and sabihin, I need help. I can't do this alone. And I understand that. But siguro, yung dapat na sobrang ingatan is when it's a person in authority making you feel like you have no other choice or no other option but to do what they want, because that's when abuse can start to happen. I think it's really important to start empowering yourself as early as now to learn how to say no, para kung dumating kayo sa circumstance na yun, alam nyo yung gagawin nyo at alam nyo na hindi kayo powerless. And I don't really know what to say for the people who are in that situation already at the time na nakikinig kayo sa podcast episode na to. But siguro for the people who are already there, maybe slowly start to empower yourself to seek help from other people na may capability na tulungan kayong humindi or may capability na magsalita on your behalf. Kasi it's really important to communicate what you're feeling, and importante yun eh. Kasi sometimes people don't realize na they're exerting, undue influence over someone. And ayoko kasing dumating sa point na I hear more stories about people being abused in whatever context. Kasi I've had enough. I've heard so much of that. And sobrang hirap niyang i-handle every time. So I'm hoping by making this statement out there na matulungan namin kayo to reclaim and take back your life from everyone and everything na binigay niyo yung control over. So start
Yeah.
small. Start
Yeah, and
sa
congratulate yourself for being aware that you're in that situation, kasi not everyone can accept that
and not
they're in that
everyone
situation.
thinks na that situation is not normal in the first
Mhm.
place. Kasi for
Exactly.
people who have only been in that situation, hindi nila malalaman yon unless someone else na outsider na magsabi sa kanila nun. And sometimes pag narinig nila yon, negative pa yung reaction nila because they didn't know na it was not normal, and there's that denial.
It's okay to ask for help in any situation, like whether it be for, like, abuse, mental health issues, or as small little thing as asking help at home or sa schoolwork.
Mhm.
It's a good practice to ask for help, lalo na kapag kailangan mo talaga. Kasi sobrang I believe na no man is an island. Kasi I have a feeling before na parang, kasi I feel alone. Ngayon ko lang ito na-realize ko in life, you know? So, alam mo yun, yes, I love my family, I have my parents, pero meron pa ring detachment eh. So, parang sobrang I always make sure na people, lahat ng tao na kumakausap sa akin ay pinakikinggan ko talaga. Kasi ang hirap ng nandun ka pero di ka nakikinig because not everyone can give the full attention. So, ano bang point ko? Point ko is look for that person or kahit sino pa yan, authority, doctor, or whatever that would really listen to you and help you kung ano man yung fini-face mo na problem. And that's okay. And it's okay to say no to the people na nag-cause sa'yo ng stress.
I think
Kasi,
it's also important to note na when Chloe says she wants you to look for someone who's listening to you, para naman dun sa mga taong nakikinig at wala nang ibang ginawa kung hindi makinig. It's not that
oh,
we're
that's me!
Yeah, it's not that we're saying na mag-agree ka sa sinasabi nila. I mean, nakikinig ka, pero
Empathize.
hindi ka passive listener. So, it's okay to help them get, comfort them, gawin mo, umuo ka sa sinasabi nila kung you agree with it. But I think it's more important to let them know kapag mali na yung sinasabi nila or mali na yung perspective nila. Like, for example,
Yun din.
pag kami nila Chloe nag-uusap or with our group of friends, whenever someone says something we don't agree with, we make sure, or at least, I don't know if we make sure pero natural na kasi sa amin na if we don't agree with something you said, we're gonna tell it straight up to you, tapos sasabihin namin kung bakit. In a nice way. Most of the time. I can't say all of the time pala, pero most of
Most of the time.
yun. So, practice making your opinion heard, pero make sure na it's at the right time, it's at the right context, kasi don't be tactless din. Baka mamaya, hindi mo na-realize na selfish ka na pala na puro ikaw na lang ng ikaw yung nagsasabi na hindi ka man lang nakinig dun sa kung ano man yung problema or sinasabi sa'yo ng kaibigan mo. So, yun. I think it's very important to point out na no is such a small word, but it's so powerful na sobra. It's really so powerful.
Yung 2-letter word na yon sobrang powerful kasi so it can mean a lot of things. Sobrang ang dami niyang underlying meaning. It can mean no, na don't do this to me. No, I don't wanna be this person anymore. And it can affect your life in all aspects. And it's always for the better para sa'yo. As a favorite character development, we're all for character development. So, ayun.
Okay? You taking on a lot of work and not feeling okay at the end of the day is not okay. Okay? So, hindi to normal.
Ayan. So, practice. Siguro maganda na yung
Ulitin ko ulit ha. I will repeat. You taking on a lot of work, and then if you don't feel good at the end of the day, either physically, emotionally, or mentally, that is not normal. That is not okay. So, the remedy for that is learn how to say no.
Say it with you.
How to say no for dummies. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3.
No. Clap.
Very good, very good. Kasi ayun, you always have to prioritize yourself and your health first. So don't be a Karmela this episode. Learn how to...
Yes. Oh, first time!
Yeah, I know, yun nga sabi ko, nakaka-proud. Kasi for once, I'm exposing myself. Prioritize your health. Kasi nga, sabi ko before, if you don't invest in yourself, and if you don't surround yourself with people with the same mindset, ultimately, you're gonna fail. You're gonna leave your task half done or not done at all, and then the work's gonna be subpar. It's gonna take so much more effort from you to finish the task. So, ayun. For me, that's
it. I think we could end with that. It's a
Yeah.
nice ending.
So, for our last bit of exercise before we end this episode, learn how to say no for dummies. Ito ulit. 1, 2, 3. No.
No.
Very good, very
Good
good.
job. Yeah. I love that clap.
Diba? Sobrang
Okay.
saya eh. Yan na ba yung susunod mong bibilhin para may clap, clap, clap ka na rin?
Oh my gosh. Pagka meron na akong makuhang either side hustle or if I get a job already.
Dude, it was a
Yes.
test. The answer was no.
Okay, so now I failed. Uy, pero investment naman kasi. It's a passion project.
Okay, so let's get a recap before we end the episode. Know your limits. Set
Take note. Ito yung basically write it down.
how to increase your life satisfaction / job satisfaction / happiness / relationship satisfaction / family satisfaction. Basta, how to increase your satisfaction in 2020 in quarantine while COVID is still happening. Okay.
Mhm.
Number 1, know your limits. Number 2, learn how to set your limits. Number 3, be firm about setting these limits. Like, wag mo siyang i-adjust ng basta-basta. Number 4, learn how to say no. Number 5, face yourself. Yun, by doing those 5 things, I think you're gonna increase your job, your happiness, your job satisfaction, happiness, relationship satisfaction. Because it all boils down to learning how to communicate what you feel and learning how to communicate what you think. So with those 5 simple steps, I hope na your situation improves.
It's like the 5-step for how to have a better life.
In 2020, in quarantine.
Yes.
Yun.
Yes. Okay.
And I
So,
think that's a wrap for this episode. So we hope na with our practice and our exercise, you get to learn how to say no more. Yeah, you practice on that big word until you finally
yeah.
get to.
Try to say it in the mirror. Like sa CR, No.
Yeah, lalo na
Practice ka.
kapag hawak mo yung phone mo tas may say, like tumingin ka sa salamin like no. Yun, you
No.
talk to yourself in the mirror.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a wrap for us. For more episodes with us helping you navigate the adult world, hit the follow button wherever you consume your weekly podcast dose. So we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Apple Podcasts. We're also on Anchor if you want to listen through there. We're also on a lot of other podcast platforms. So if your podcast platform wasn't listed or, we haven't mentioned it, send us a message, put a comment down below if you're on YouTube. We're also on YouTube, so you can see our faces on YouTube.
Yeah.
So today is our chill day. It's me in my pajamas. I'm not gonna show them on camera, but except si
Yes.
Miss Sarah Elica naka full on lipstick ata. Nag-effort siya
Kasi,
today for you.
hindi. Pag wala akong lipstick, girl, mukha akong bangkay. So, better
yeah.
this than,
Mhm.
Yes. So, you can get more exclusive content on our socials. So, follow us at Yugto Podcast, both on Facebook and on Instagram.
Ayan, if you want us to go on other social platforms, message nyo rin kami.
Yeah, kung gusto nyo mag-Twitter kami, ganon. Or,
Yeah. And what kind of content you want to see on those platforms, kung anong kind of exclusive content yung gusto nyo makita, let us know, like give us suggestions. That's it for our learning how to say no for dummies episode. Tune in next Monday because you'll be meeting our friends.
What? May friends tayo?
We have
Like,
other
tayo hate sa mundo?
Well, we don't really hate them. We just dislike them. And
Dislike.
some aspects of their person. Hate is a strong word. Next Monday, you will be meeting our friends. So,
What?
for those of you who are listening in YouTube
Hello.
or watching in YouTube, hello. Here's another extra from me and from Chloe, but with Chloe this time. So, by the time of recording, actually, we have not yet launched by the time of recording. We are launching in less than 24 hours. Hi, Chloe.
Woo!
Hi, guys. Chloe's gonna be handling our socials. So, si Chloe yung main na makaka-interact nyo once we launch. Because
Kaya mag-message lang kayo anywhere. Ako sasagot.
Sasagot siya ng mabilis. Pag hindi siya mabilis sumagot, please let me know. So I can, pagalitan ko na naman siya on podcast episode for you guys. But, at the time of recording, are we gonna say the date? Okay, let's say the date. Today is September 22nd, 2020. And it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's a Tuesday. Hindi pa alam ng friends namin na mag-guest sila next episode. Hindi pa sila informed, but we have gotten their consent to basically use their name.
Pina-oo namin sila. Oh
Alam
my
mo,
gosh, grabe ang sama pala natin. Sabi natin, wag kang oo sa mga things na hindi mo alam. Tapos pina-oo natin yung friends natin. Galing!
Ayun, big things are coming. Na-hype ulit kami. We're hyping ourselves.
Yes. Woo!
Because
I feel the
it's actually
stress!
real now. Yeah, this is actually
Yeah,
real
bigla akong
now.
kinabahan. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's too late to back out now. We're 4 episodes in. So,
Yeah.
ayun.
Okay.
YouTube fam, as in, hush-hush lang kayo ha. Huwag niyong sasabihin to dun sa other people. Kasi, siguro by the time na lumabas to, alam na ng friends namin. And
Mhm.
nagalit na sila at nainis na sila na hindi namin sinabi agad because we've kept this hush-hush from everyone. Almost everyone. Our families know na we're
Mhm.
doing a podcast. They just don't exactly know what the episodes are gonna be about. So I think
Yeah.
they're also excited for anong ilalabas naming topics. So ayun, YouTube guys, this is to make up for the mess that is episode 2. So here's a little exclusive for you guys. Because episode 2 has been a mess. I'm so sorry, that's purely my fault,
Di
mostly.
naman, it's the Wi-Fi. We can't blame. Di tayo si Liza.
So ayun, I hope this makes up for my low energy levels on that episode.
Yeah. Sa
Magulong
susunod, sasayaw
camera.
kami ng It Really Hurt.
Si
No,
Chloe lang
mahal.
because I don't know what that is.
Sige.
I don't
Okay.
know what
At
that
least
is.
medyo, wag mo na alamin. Okay lang.
Yeah,
It's fine.
anyway, for the rest of the podcast listeners, so that's gonna be fun. We don't know how that's gonna work out. We don't know how everything's gonna happen since it's such a loud group. So we're gonna be introducing them to you next
Them, take
Monday.
note. Them.
Them. So it's
So
not just one
exciting.
guest. Yeah, we don't do things by half here. If we're gonna have guests, we're gonna have a lot at one time. So ayun. So it's our first guesting thing. And you get to hear other voices and see other faces besides.
Okay, once again, this is Chloe and Karmela, and you have been listening to the Yugto Podcast.
Bye!
Oh my gosh, first time ko hindi nagsabi ng something. Oh, yun na pala yun. Whoops.